bringing us here today. Thank you, Secretary, for your leadership, and most importantly, thank you to the men and women of the National Guard. I think here's the most important point. There are residents who lived in Washington, D.C. their entire lives. Their parents lived here. Their grandparents lived here. And they have lived for generations in intolerable conditions of crime and decay. There are parts of the city, I moved to the city 20 years ago. There are places where I've seen graffiti that has been untouched for 2 decades. There are homeless encampments that have made it impossible for families to use public parks and public recreation for as long as I've lived here. There are hundreds of residents of this city who are shot in street violence every single year, making it one of the most violent cities on planet Earth. And for too long, 99% of this city has been terrorized by 1% of the city. And the voices that you hear out there, those crazy communists, they have no roots, they have no connections to the city, they have no families they are raising in this city, they have no one that they are sending to school in this city, they have no jobs in this city, they have no connections to this community at all. But they're the ones who've been advocating for the 1%, the criminals, the killers, the rapists, the drug dealers. And I'm glad they're here today. Because me, Pete, and the Vice President are all going to leave here, and inspired by them, we're going to add thousands more resources to this city to get the criminals and the gang members out of here. We're going to dismantle those networks, and we're going to prove that a city can serve for the law-abiding citizens who live there. We are not going to let the communists destroy a great American city, let alone the nation's capital. And let's just also address one other thing. All these demonstrators that you've seen out here in recent days, all of these elderly white hippies, they're not part of the city and never have been. And by the way, most of the citizens who live in Washington, D.C. are black. This is not a city that has had any safety for its black citizens for generations. And President Trump is the one who is fixing that with the support of the Metropolitan Police Department, the support of the National Guard, and our federal law enforcement officers. So we're going to ignore these stupid white hippies that all need to go home and take a nap because they're all over 90 years old, and we're going to get back to the business of protecting the American people and the citizens of Washington, D.C. Thank you, Steve.
Did you like it? This is how fascism is born. So, let's deconstruct the speech of Mr. Miller, who is ironically a Jew, and he should know better. But then again, considering what the IDF is doing in Palestine, in Gaza, these days they are more or less the same. Zionists and Nazis, the same. Brothers of the same bastard father. And let's take a look at this speech. Okay, as you understood, this is because of the deployment of military, National Guard, I think, in Marines and whatever, into the city of Washington because it's very dangerous. Number one, around 40% of the population, I think, it's black in Washington. Washington does not have a higher crime rate than any city in the United States. In fact, it has a lower crime rate than any other city in the United States. Washington, at an international level, is not considered an unsafe city by any foreign visitors, by anyone at all. The citizens that are living in the Washington, D.C. area, they have, on their majority, said that they do not need this apparatus. Okay? Perhaps the police needs more resources, but giving more resources to a civilian police force is not the same as deploying military forces on the streets. He, and when I say he, let's call it the government, they are deploying military forces into the city because the city, the capital, is a reflection of the country. And they are deploying those military forces, just like Hitler, for example, put uniforms in the members of his party. Because uniformity of a force conveys an idea of order and power. Meaning, when you see someone marching down the street wearing a uniform, and when you see them in a group, you have a little mechanism inside of your little head that compels you to either fear, respect, or obey. Okay? This is why we do it. Okay? Look, and when it's done properly, it is actually effective. Around here, during COVID, when finally the president said that it was a bit, people were not getting out of control in the sense that they were not doing exactly what the health authorities were doing, the president appointed a military career man, an admiral, I think he's an admiral, to take over the distribution of vaccines and to help and coordinate, more important, coordinate the operations of the police force. And then you would have, for example, police force monitoring areas of convergence of people into cities, into large cities, like for example Lisbon, and it would be accompanied by militaries. Militaries made the distribution of vaccines and oversaw the the distribution via the medical authorities, because the medical staff, okay, they were the ones that decided who will be vaccinated now, who will be vaccinated afterwards, who has to be isolated, all of that. Okay, because unlike some countries where politics, like the disasters thing that happened in the United Kingdom, for example, and even in the US, here when it's a medical emergency, you call the medics, you call the doctors, you call the experts, you call the virologists, you call the people that know what the hell they are doing, and they tell you what is going to happen, how can we prevent this, what can we do, what can we not do. And even here, as soon as the people knew, it was televised, that there was a military guy in charge, and that there were military troops that were ready to take on any kind of shady business, and they had to intervene a couple of times, not very much, because people obeyed the orders and the recommendations. Instant peace. When you do this, you have an actual emergency situation, and you deploy troops, you deploy an organized force that uh, knows exactly what they are doing, that they have discipline, that they have order. It's absolutely useful. But you can also deploy them like he is doing now. Did you see what happened in LA? It only exacerbated the protests even more. So what did he do? He militarized even more ICE, provided them with infinite resources. Why? Because he wants this force to act like a military force of occupation. This is virtually an occupation of a civilian territory. The president is bypassing the civilian authorities, and the president is proceeding with a military occupation. And don't tell me, oh, he's there just there because the police force can do nothing and this and that. From the start, the crime rate was not any higher than any other place in the United States. And he first accuses Mr. Miller. In other words, he accuses the minorities, the brown faces, the black people, the criminals, the rapists, the robbers, whatever. And a lot of them are. But a lot of them also are poor, uneducated, and denied jobs. And generations growing up in this type of environment, they are going to become violent. Oh, of course they are. Okay. White people also become violent when they are completely reduced to poverty. Okay? Chinese people, Japanese, everyone, every bloody fucking human turns into an animal when they are pushed enough, when they grow in squalor, when they cannot see any future for their lives. People say, "Oh, they take the easy road." I love to listen to this one, the easy road. Okay, I never grew hungry, but there was a time of my in my life when I had to eat canned food once a day, and I would spend the entire day just with a cup of coffee and perhaps a sandwich if I was lucky the entire day. Do you think I was happy? Do you think if I did not have the ethical and moral background that my parents gave me, do you think I would resist temptation of getting some easy money? Put yourself in their shoes before you start fucking yapping your words about superiority of this and superiority of that. Cultural differences are not superiority. Cultural differences are cultural difference. And you, in the Americas, you are all fucking Americans. All of you. All, each color. That is why you also have Nazis that are Jew, that are black. Because you are all the same. What matters to you is money in your pocket. And if you are going to attack an ethnic group for earning power and money, you are going to do it. So, this entire speech was seen here in Europe to those that cared. And you know what was the comment of one of my friends, German? He sounds like Goebbels. Want me to repeat this? He sounds like Goebbels. It's the exact same speech. If you're an American and you understand German, like I do, go and watch a propaganda video of the regime. It's eerie. It's eerie. It's scary. It's the same speech. Just like Putin. Putin, go watch a World War II video of Nazi propaganda or Mussolini. Uh, Trump goes more in the Mussolini style. It was a bit more slick. That also put a joke here and there to entertain the populace, so the populace would laugh. Oh, isn't he nice, our dear leader? Go and watch it. This is a hate speech. Having even the way they framed the picture, okay? A harsh military guy with his cap down to his eyes, sturdy, authoritarian, strong. In the background, the two the two tools, the two other cool tools of Mr. Miller in the side making yes. Nice one. All of that. Theater. Pure theater. And in a country that is used to Hollywood glitter and all of that, and there are people that are eating this up. If they thought that Washington was that underwhelmed by criminals, they would not put the National Guard there. They would hire more cops. They would give more money to the cops. They would demand it, for example, that there are more cops in the street, watching the roads, watching the businesses, taking care of people. And that would be appropriate. That would be of nothing that bad. You come here to Portugal, and during tourist area, in tourist during peak tourist the picturesque weeks and events, you have double or more of the police force on the street because preventing crime, okay, helping people that are a victim of crime, okay, helping people that are just lost or whatever, okay, because cops here have a lot of functions in society. This would be normal, but when you start screaming a crisis, oh my god, the criminals, oh the children, oh won't someone please think of the children, oh my god, oh please, 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 even the black people that are crying for our help, we need to help them. And instead of, and you pick up the troops and you say, yes, we're going to march in to authoritarian, you know, you are going to fear me. When you do that, this is how fascism starts. Do you understand me? This is how fascism starts. Because I also saw those protests in the other side. And it wasn't just old hippies. The old hippies are the elders that still have the balls to come out in the streets and say something about it. They and the young kids. Because they are the ones, the middle class, the middle ages, a majority of them are sitting in their asses doing absolutely bloody nothing. And you have the kids, you have a couple of nutters from the middle, okay, and you have the old ones. Because the kids don't want this shit. And the older ones know what this shit is. Democracies do not die with a bang. They die with a whimper. This is how fascism starts. Well, thank you very much. I hope you liked this video. Please leave me your opinion down below in the comment sections.